My name's Dave. So I was in a motorcycle accident on the street in 1990, and I have a spinal cord injury, which is T4. So T4 is about mid-chest, so it's a complete injury from here down. Stomach muscles don't work, chest and arms work fine, but below that doesn't work. Hadn't ridden in about 17 years, and saw another guy on YouTube have a setup on his bike, and contacted him and kind of described how to build it, and we put this setup together. And so I've been riding this bike since about 2007. Started doing track days, and so now I just ride it at the track, no more street, anything like that. And you can ride fairly normally. Can't move around on the bike. I can't hang off the side of the bike, you know, I'm just stationary on the bike. But we have an electric shifter on one side and buttons for a linear actuator on the other side that rotates the arms up and down. And so you only need them to start and stop. And once you get going, it feels like normal riding for the most part. Friends of mine were riding, so summertime would come around and I'm sitting at home and everyone else is going out riding. So that kind of is what fired me up to try and get going and see if I could figure it out and go riding with some of my friends. So really it's just, you know, anything's possible. It just takes a little time to figure it out and a little bit of motivation to get you going, but it's a lot better than sitting at home, that's for sure. So yeah, I used to ride it on the street, and it's a little tricky on the street. You got to think ahead, you got to watch ahead, because it takes 3 seconds from all the way up to all the way down. Yeah. And the hardest part was the crown of the road. Yeah. When you put it down on a crowned road, it puts you at that angle, wants to steer you off the road. So you got to be going really slow when they touch down, and then when you start off, you got to really get them up fast so you can kind of wiggle the bike up into straight up and down. It was fun on the street, and you're also, at least I was stuck on the bike all day. I've seen on the internet some people have a mount for the wheelchair, and I've seen that, so that would be interesting to try, but I'd never set that up. So you go out for a day of riding and that's where you're at, you're on the bike. So track days are a lot of fun, so I'm just doing that. Pretty much as long as you've got good arm mobility and muscles and chest works, then you can ride. Yeah. You know, if you don't have the dexterity in your hands or triceps aren't working, it'd be a little bit more difficult. But, you know, so from here down, it's possible. So the setup on this bike, we've got a linear actuator that just goes in and out. We've got this connecting rod here, and this bar is one piece that goes under the subframe with some pillow block bearings. And so you hit the button on the handlebars and it'll just slide back and rotate the bar up and down. And that's all there is to it. I've seen other setups that are a little bit nicer, shorter arm, it goes up and down faster. Some people have had it tucked up under the tail, which is really nice. And then we have the electric shifter, and it shifts up and down with buttons on the handlebars here. So these buttons are for shifting. Clutch works just like normal. One thing we did have to come up with was something to hold my feet on where I wasn't really attached to the bike, and because I crashed one time and stayed attached to the bike.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so we've got these plexiglass tubes with a slit cut all down the tube, and I'm actually strapped to that tube. So if I were to crash, if you yank on this hard enough, it'll just pop off.
Right.
And then
but it doesn't blow your feet off running down the road.
No, it's on there pretty good, but if you really were to crash and tumble, you'll pop off.
Right.
I hope. And then we have these thin zip ties here with a Velcro strap that goes around my knees. And this will pop.
Got it.
I had the back slide out one time and it popped me up in the air, and these popped. So that was at least a good test for that. So it's simple, you know, it's not fancy, but it hopefully will work. And that's all there is really to the setup.